SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity.
What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sword of blade.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Oh. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. My name is Neil, and joined in Grandma's couch studio.
Bah humbug.
Bah humbug. Yeah, you guys are both wearing black. I wore the Christmas hoodie today.
It's Gremlins, though. So
It's Gremlins.
It's a Christmas movie.
I actually watched Die Hard because in my household,
also a
Die Hard
Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie as well.
I've
My
watched it
wife,
already this season.
my wife fully supports that as a Christmas movie.
So you got mad scientist Scott Brown sitting over there
Bah
with a
humbug.
black snap-on hoodie, and then myself, Jeff Shermani, the producer.
The Italian Stallion. Scott's being big grumpster over there.
Yeah.
Man, he's scrooging it out.
You know, especially for making me bring the guitar for the 12 Days of Jeepmas today. So in that regard, I don't have pictures for him, which means he's singing along with you.
I know. Like, how dare he? You know, he had expectations for you.
Which means he's singing along with you.
Nope.
And I have, I have the lyrics here when we get to that part.
All right. If you're new to this channel, which or program, we've had we continue to grow exponentially, and we thank all of our listeners worldwide for prioritizing the I Speak G podcast as part of your infotainment. But prior to the three podcasts leading up to a brief Christmas, New Year's break that we will take, we will loosely make your ears bleed because I will sing for you a rendition of that Jeffrey has produced of 12 Days of Jeepmas. We've been doing this for 4 years now. This will be our fourth year, I think.
I think so. And it is not AI created this year.
Yeah, last
We tried
year.
that last year. And
We didn't try that last year.
we tried that last year.
We didn't try that last year. The
sang it.
producer's job is to produce the content. So you tried that last year. None of us liked it. And here we are. Jeffrey has supposedly created new content, new wording for us. Now, we've been doing this for years.
It is really hard to create new lines for the fourth year in a row, just to put that out there.
Excuses. So we
feel like
will
I did
sing 4 verses because ultimately you've got 3 weeks of it, and we'll add verses each week. So if you think that watching me struggle through this, now as part of that, Scott has challenged Jeffrey to strum the guitar, which actually sounded great during mic checks. So Jeffrey will be strumming the guitar through the process. So if you do want to be part of this masochistic approach here, it will be near the end before the outro. Following the outro credits, if you want to hang in there, you'll hear about our weekend updates, and we'll kind of tell you about what we did. I definitely want to give a shout out near the end as part of my weekend. But I am curious, before we get into our topic today, which is going to be crappy axle technology as your topic. I'm not sure what Jeffrey titled it, but I'm just going to call it crappy axles.
I literally titled it The 12 Days of Jeepmas Part 1, leaving it open for whatever topic we wanted to put in.
There you go. So we're going to be locking in. We're going to tell you a little bit about a situation we're encountering with JLs and JTs specifically, but we're going to give you some context. We're going to expand upon this specific subject matter. Additionally, I will be doing a YouTube video on it so that you get that B-roll, you get that, maybe that little extra tidbit. Today's will be kind of an organic conversation based on our experience and a little further contextualization of maybe where this crappy technology came from. So that will be next on our agenda. We are dressed in black, but we're dressed in black because we're here to do work, because we've got a lot of work to put in on a lot of Jeeps.
I have a black hoodie to change into.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'll wear something more appropriate towards the end of the month, but
yeah.
We got work to do today. So what do you got, Jeffrey?
In the comments, we got Nate being first as usual, saying good morning and
Impressive,
a very Merry
Nate.
Jeepmas to all. Billy Joe saying good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Stay warm. Rob Seaman saying ho 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 SFJ 4x4. Nate is interested to hear how your 12 days of Jeepmas compare to his.
Yours was better, Nathan.
Probably, without question. We have. Did you even listen to his?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But did he have
A live guitar.
a live guitar?
You haven't heard the live guitar play along with the song yet, so leave that out.
I
there.
heard enough at the beginning that was great.
Giaga Jeeper says, good morning, SFJ. Billy Joe saying, singing. I can't wait to hear the Christmas songs. I'm sure they won't be the original version. And there's only one Christmas song that we've rewritten, so you just get to hear it for 3 weeks. I'm sorry. Giaga Jeepers. CAT, Crappy Axle Technology.
You know what? He's straight on. You're
Guitars.
about to kick your guitar off
whatever.
the set. So
We'll just
he's straight on, because we are going to be talking about acronyms, and the two different ones will be a FAD or a CAD, and I really like the acronym CAT, Crappy Axle Technology, as well. It'll fit right in there with our acronyms of sorts.
Well, that's what CAD stood for, right? Crappy Axle Design.
Ooh, that's fair. That's fair. That's
And I can only hope this other one.
FAD is flawed axle design, right?
Well,
Jeff, you are on fire. Look at you.
I was just hoping it is a fad and they're going to phase it out, hopefully, because please.
No. Nope, they're not. Nope, they're sure not. Gracious. And if you're logged on, you'll know that we dropped a good YouTube video over the weekend, utilizing some behind the scenes information that we're privy to regarding some contractual negotiations and production plant expectations, and kind of historically what Jeep has looked like, and kind of looking into our crystal ball about what the next Wrangler looks like in just a few short years. So you might want to go check out that YouTube video that is live right now if you haven't already. So, I suppose without further ado, were you going to say something besides humbugging everyone?
Yeah.
Wow,
What was your title today? I mean, other than me calling you mad scientist, normally you've got titles.
Dash removal guy.
Dash removal guy.
That really, speaks.
I
why
think that's why Scott's sour, is that he's having to work pull heater core and pull an entire interior apart.
But he's so good at it.
I
at
got
this point.
He's
6
so good
Jeeps
at
torn apart and haven't been able to finish one of them.
Yeah, that's challenging.
Way to kill the mood for everybody.
Wow, I feel that in my soul.
Yeah, me too.
We're really good at Jeeps, and
Well, that's why we have 6 of them tore apart, and we can still put them back together.
yeah, if we ever got parts
Yeah.
in a timely fashion.
Jeannie said, wow, time got away. Good morning. Scott Bennett said, good morning, gentlemen. And Jerry Huber said, good morning, guys. So,
Good morning to everyone. So I suppose without further ado, we should talk about this crappy axle technology, and I think that it behooves us to kind of jump off as to what the catalyst is, and
I think you got to build up to it. We just start talking where it began with crappy axle technology, and then we get to the end and we explain why.
See, I felt like it was a movie
kind of
where
like-
you get to see the crash, and then we go,
No,
12,
it's a
24
cliffhanger.
hours earlier, and we
well,
come up to the crash and
is
go
the fact
forward.
that we've got 6 Jeeps in the shop tore apart, and one of them is because of this.
That's okay.
That's
True.
fair.
That's true. So there was a fuel crisis.
Yeah.
There was a fuel crisis in the
70s.
70s. And wow. So
And we decided that we shouldn't have these gigantic, heavy,
gunboat vehicles that
with
we were
huge cubic inches with 100 horsepower that just love gasoline.
Yeah. So the energy crisis of the 70s led the automotive market, both on consumer demand and federal regulatory expectations, to start to creatively address the function of the vehicle itself. This is where we start kind of thinning out our metal. So instead of these big, full, thick frames and these big, beautiful, thick quarter panels and side panels.
If beautiful was a thing for the 70s vehicles, but it's late 70s.
You're so full of hate.
It is.
I like a number of 70s vehicles. Anyways. So, one of the things that was happening was at that time, four-wheel drives had lockouts specifically. And the reasonable objective of the lockout was less wear and tear on the rotating components, specifically of your front axle. And so today's conversation is going to be largely talking about front axle technology. I would love to get into two-piece rear axles. That's for another conversation. We're going to lock in on front axles specifically. So loosely speaking, through this era, and really starting in the 40s, we have lockout technology for the expectation of reduced wear and tear on four-wheel drive systems. But the challenge with that, and why military vehicles of all early era and whatnot, they have what's called drive flanges. Drive flanges are keeping that front rotating hub assembly locked into the front axle at all times. And so what's happening is the axle shafts that run down the innermost portion of the axle tubes into the differential, you might call that the pumpkin or the pig or the diff itself. And those axle shafts run internal to that. They kind of float. I need everybody to know that they're kind of suspended true within that assembly. So there's a connecting point out at the rotating hub, and then that stub shaft connects to some form of universal joint. From that universal joint, the axle shaft suspended in trueness or centered nature down the axle tube itself pushes into the differential housing. Internal to there is called a carrier. The carrier is what the ring is bolted to. And oftentimes you've heard us talk about the ring and pinion, or our industry talks constantly about ring and pinions. The ring is bolted to the carrier. The pinion is inserted through the front or backside of the differential. In this situation, it would be the backside of the differential or the pinion throat. And basically, inside the carrier are spider gears. Those spider gears allow unequal energy transfer. So that's what allows four-wheel drive to kind of move from the transfer case down the drive shaft into the pinion and then be reasonably distributed side to side. Now, back in the day, you got these guys who just wanted to what we call Jeep flex and stir the pot. And with an open axle, they would say, well, that's not true four-wheel drive. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So the issue is when you have wheel slippage, energy will be transferred to the path of least resistance. So as that motion from drive shaft to pinion to carrier happens, the path of least that energy transfer follows the path of least resistance. It's why in a rear wheel drive in the ice, you would get this one tire that would all of a sudden go and it would just spin on the ice. And that was because that
was
energy.
a pretty good sound effect. I'm impressed.
Well, I really like my
soundbite.
I really like my accents and sound bites.
Yeah, I mean that was one of your better ones.
No, I didn't feel that good about it, but I'm going to take that as a win. So the issue with four-wheel drive is objectively that if everything is maintaining a reasonable amount of traction, four-wheel drive works beautifully. Mm-hmm. However, if you've got into an off-camber situation or a heavily articulated situation where you actually have opposing tires up in the air, or heck, even the same tires up in the air, that energy transfer is just going to those loosey-goosey tires, and you're stuck.
Yep.
Okay?
which we could go deeper into on another podcast, but that's not.
Yeah,
actually what we're
I
talking
gotta leave it be.
Yeah.
I gotta leave this be. Okay. So drive flanges is what connects the outside of the stub shaft to the inside of the carrier.
Yep.
Lockouts would allow that system to sit there 100% neutral. That if your transfer case was not engaged in 4-wheel drive, so you were in 2-wheel drive, that means your front drive shaft is not spinning, and your lockouts were equally disengaged, then that means your axle shaft, your universal joints, your drive shaft universal joints, your ring, your pinion are 100% neutral or static.
They're just sitting there.
It's just sitting there. Arguably, there should be absolutely zero parasitic drag. Okay, and this is an important term. This is like if you were in elementary school. Again, this would be like highlighted for you to reference at the end of the instructional
For
piece.
the exam that we're going to give you when
That's
we're done.
right. That's right.
Pay attention.
And the biggest challenge is, humans, because in a perfect world, back in the day, my dad used to plow snow with old school 4-wheel drives with lockouts, and you turned them in November and you turned them out in like May.
Yes.
And that was just life. And
we also didn't go very far or very fast in our 4-wheel drives in that era.
We didn't.
By comparison.
But there was a habit of people that get a bug up their butt and they go off-road and go, I'm stuck because I didn't turn the hubs in.
Yep.
And now I have to crawl on the hood and go down into the soupy mire up to my armpit.
Yep.
And try to find the lockout.
Yep.
And
fish around down in the mud.
Just for a point of clarification, the drive shaft, when you put it in 4-wheel drive, is now spinning.
Yep.
But why?
If the lockouts are not engaged,
it's just spinning. It doesn't go to the wheel.
it does not go to the wheel. The drive shaft spins, the ring and pinion spins, and then again, following path of least resistance, one of the axle shafts is largely going to spin. Maybe both. One spins a little faster than the other. Good clarification, Jeffrey.
And you could technically have one lockout on and one off.
Correct.
And one wheel would spin.
No, that actually
That's-
would spin inside the differential. Thanks, Savage.
No, if it would only do that if you had a locker or something, which I already had to pry him away from talking about.
I know,
more.
but
So,
Yeah, I
as
totally want to
as
talk
far
about
as the technology of the front axle, I think that's an important clarification.
That's great.
Yep.
I'm with you 100%. So the reason why we had drive flanges in military applications was because at no point in time did we A, care about fuel consumption,
Nope.
and B, you can't be worried about engaging lockouts when you're getting shot at.
Yeah.
You need to just be able to
laying
shift
on
into
the
four-wheel
hood
drive.
in the mud puddle is not a good time when you're getting shot at.
No, you need to be able to just shift and go. Now the problem is that leads itself to excessive fuel consumption, heavy wear and tear. As 4-wheel drives become more marketed towards the general population, which I actually watched a great video. I think I might have sent it to you guys regarding maybe I didn't, the marketing of Jeep from utilitarian to civilian.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the sense of not just like military to civilian, but when our service members came back after World War II, they used Jeeps as tractors, as tow trucks, as generators, as factory, go-getters and stuff like that.
Right. And they're trying to make the vehicle more easy to digest. So is perfect kind of example is I had an old tractor and now I got a new tractor. The old tractor, you had to know where to hit it, turn on the gas, the clutch stuck. So if you wanted to climb off of it while it was still kind of moving, that was kind of dangerous. There's no safeties involved, but you could ugh
Sure.
man and make it work. Or you have the new tractor where it's all friendly and easy to get on and off and everything kind of works correctly. But we have this stigma too, is all part of this, that we want to be manly man, and we kind of want you to think we're driving the dangerous tractor or the bad, awesome 4-wheel drive with the lockouts, but we don't actually want to get our shoes dirty.
That's true. So what ends up happening as we kind of fast forward and compartmentalize this, as Scott had mentioned, humans don't want to get out and get dirty to engage their lockouts.
Yes.
They want, from the comfort of their driver's seat, whether they're plowing snow or whether they're off-roading or whatever, they want to be able to engage four-wheel drive and stay within the cab of the vehicle and for four-wheel drive to just work.
But they also want to get the best fuel economy they can, and they don't want to replace parts earlier than necessary. So we got into this weird situation where we wanted our cake.
How do we have our cake and eat it too?
And this is not just a Jeep problem. This is every four-wheel drive problem.
Actually, it didn't. I don't think it hit Jeep until the 80s.
Correct.
Full-size Jeeps may have had this design earlier in the 80s.
That's true. And it was like 84-ish. And it was even worse.
It was even worse.
Yeah.
It was even worse. And so if you don't know and you didn't get the joke from Geauga Jeepers, the sentiment of FAD, front axle disconnect, or CAD, center or central axle disconnect, is specifically where we're leading you up to in contextualization, okay? And arguably, we see this technology first emerge in the 70s because instead of having a hub design where we have a spindle with bearings and hub and
well, I think it's
lockout.
important to say, just for the real Jeep nerds out there, or four-wheel drive nerds, there was a hub that was designed that had an automatic setting. And the idea of that was that it was free until you applied torque to it, and then it would somehow lock in to make it drive. So that was the very first stepping stone, getting our toes wet in the idea. And that actually wasn't too bad of an idea, but then it all kind of went downhill from there. So into the 80s, we get into our computer design, and we're in the techie era. So on the computer screen, it's just perfect. You shift it into four-wheel drive, and the switch gets activated, and it routes some vacuum out to the axle, and everything's perfect. And
I need to interrupt. Don't listen to me because I'm going to interrupt you, but I need you to keep going on your piece. The switch is actually in the transfer case that he's talking about. So objectively, they wanted to make it as dumb friendly as possible. So all you are doing inside the cab are pulling the lever, which is mechanically what you did 20 years prior.
Yes.
And now there's an electronic switch inside the
vacuum switch.
It's actually vacuum at that age. Inside the transfer case, which then sets a bunch of other things in motion. And I can't help but think about the game Mousetrap or Pee-wee Herman's Breakfast Machine.
Absolutely.
Depending on where you encounter...
The Incredible Machine.
Yeah, the Incredible Machine.
Isn't it a perpetual motion or something like that machine where one thing just keeps
setting something else in motion?
Yeah.
It's this Greg calls it Ruth Goldberg. I don't know if that's the right reference as well in this. Okay. And so ultimately what you're doing is you're putting a bunch of other actions in place by a singular input.
Yes.
So keep going with your...
But we didn't have the technology to make it all computer at that time. So we're doing it with switches and vacuums and everything else. So anyway, and again, this is in perfect on the computer screen. Everything's just magic. So you switch the lever, turns on the vacuum switch, sends vacuum to the front axle, has a little diaphragm with a fork on it. It shifts over a collar, locking the long side axle into one, and poof, magic happens, and we're looking cool and fly, and we're driving in our snow in the four-wheel drive. And then reality hits.
And with that sentiment, that was with the design. There was a crossover where there were actual hubs with dry flanges, but then ultimately sealed hub unit bearings where we're no longer messing with lockouts within our given four-wheel drive industry.
Yep.
And so now instead of our long axle shaft being uno piece, it is now dos pieces.
Amy wanted to correct you. It's Rube Goldberg.
Outstanding.
I think it's great because we always correct Scott, so his wife steps in and
she's used to it. So.
Yeah.
So as far as the long side shaft is concerned, we now have a two-piece internal shaft, and then we still have our third stub shaft. So that's actually a 3-piece axle shaft assembly on the long side of the tube.
So then on top of all that, so now we have to have a location for this vacuum motor, lack of a better term, with its fork to live. So we look at our front axle, and I think all axle manufacturers want things to be heavy and ugh. So they're like, well, what makes sense is, we have a big casting in the middle with our ring and our carrier. We have big castings on the outside holding our ball joints. We should just make a big casting in the middle of the axle tube, but we're not going to make it one piece with the center chunk. We're going to connect it with a little piece of tubing in between, which, okay.
It's a very Dana thing to do.
It's a very Dana thing to do.
That's just the best way to put it.
But the problem with all that is now you have multitudes of welds. You have multitudes of dissimilar metals. And now
you have press fit construction initially.
Yeah.
And while I need everybody to know, again, we've toured the Dana corporate factory in modern day. They have rigorous R&D and testing and all that kind of stuff. Things that they design on paper and then put into production work really well initially.
Yes.
I feel that, right?
So
but as a society, we have not become great at making things last.
but
Our
the-
forefathers tried to make things last.
But Dana has a dirty word, the OE.
Yes.
And they don't like the OE.
Nah, right. Well,
It's a love-hate
don't bite the hand
relationship.
that feeds you, right?
It's a love-hate.
Dana doesn't want to come out against the OE, but
There's murmurs.
yeah, you have to supply what the customer will pay for, and ultimately Dana is a supply chain manufacturer of original equipment market, and
Dana likes a big hammer on some levels, but OE doesn't want to pay for the big hammer. And they're
So they compromise somewhere in between.
and they're also on a certain weight budget on the vehicle. The OEs are very passionate about that. Dana engineers, a little less, kind of forced into it, which is why we see the Ultimate Series where they kind of get to do what they wanted to do from stage one, and it's just beef everywhere.
yes,
But so I want to go back to the central axle disconnect and the casting in the middle of the tube.
Yep.
I don't actually know this, but I can only assume that the reason it's in the middle of the tube and not at the center diff just off to the side has something to do with the torque of the axle shaft itself.
Nope.
And because if you put it right at the end, now you got this little tiny stub into the carrier.
Nope. Actually, General Motors literally made their disconnect in the center pumpkin at the end. They had all own reasons and own issues that those things suck, but they don't bend because of it, because it is part of the center chunk. And then the early Wagoneers that we were talking about that had the front axle disconnect or CAD, central axle disconnect, it was part of the central pumpkin. The vacuum diaphragm literally was beside the diff cover. Why?
So yeah.
When
So
we
why
went
did
to
we
the-
move to the tube though?
Well, that's also why I apologize, Rob. Why Jays? I've been
Daddy Jeep's not even in the comments yet, and you're already going after him.
So anyway, I think part of it was, again, we're in the AMC mantra. We like things to look the same and share across platforms, even though they really can't. So on the small Cherokee and small Wagoneer, it made sense to make that casting the upper control arm mount, so which needed it to be towards the passenger side. For whatever reason, when they went to a Wrangler with leaf springs, they're like, oh, let's just keep it there.
they just didn't want to retool.
But it's a completely different axle. Like, nothing shares. The only thing I can remotely think is the U-bolts then. Back in CJ land, we had 3 U-bolts that were one size and 1 U-bolt that was another size. And this allowed you to have fat U-bolts and skinny U-bolts on both sides, because now one U-bolt goes around the CAD and the other one does not. but I'm really stretching for a reason at this point.
I think at some point in time we do have to recognize that despite wanting things to be motivated by purpose, intent, construction, and forethought, the reality is sometimes bean counters, logistics, and not having to pay for a new machine to retool something is kind of what we come down to.
Yes.
You know?
In the comments, Charles said the YJs are the best as far as he's concerned.
Charles, everybody is entitled to their wrong opinion. This is America.
No, he hasn't owned an 87 YJ.
I want to know if Charles has owned an 87 YJ.
He has not.
So, and all of that is in jest, Charles, and we always appreciate you tuning in. As a proud YJ aficionado, I take all the ribbing and I can take it and I can
remember
dish it.
when YJs weren't cool.
Right.
They literally like they'd pull in and it was the nerd or the dork of the Jeepdom. They're like, oh,
I don't know what it says about me. I've had many. I've had multiple YJs.
Wow.
But you fit in so well in school. Otherwise, you
right.
had to embrace it somewhere.
Oh God. Okay, this is painful. So, anyways, let's get on this FAD disconnect. Right, FAD at CAD technology here.
So anywho's we designed this. It works perfect in this perfect world.
Hold on a second. To just come back to Jeffrey's conversation, I don't know that there's a great rhyme or reason why it's in the center, other than I do like your idea that maybe there's a better torque. The
Just
stub
the
shafts
physics
are,
of it.
It's
Their
like for
stub shaft.
when we have V8s and full size pickup trucks, and it doesn't matter.
and that's the only piece that I was going to say is that I like how you're trying to apply logic. Okay.
I don't think there's any logic here.
And Charles says he has an 89, a 91, a 92, and 95. Charles, I love your collection.
Still not an 87.
89, you do get a little bit of whipping.
89, you do take a little bit of crud. I want to know, Charles, is the 89 a 6-cylinder 5-speed? Come back in the comments with us. We'll make sure to read it. 6-cylinder 5-speed. Give me some feedback. The 95, you can't go wrong with. I love it. So great Jeep.
Yep.
Anyways.
So in perfect world, it works. Maybe it worked for the first 6 months off the lot.
It's pretty much the only time it worked, in my opinion.
Until the vacuum hoses got dry rotted, or you poked them with a stick, or the vacuum can rusted out, or you decided that you were over the vacuum system, so you're going to buy this cool aftermarket cable.
No. Don't bring the cable up just yet.
Okay.
Don't bring it up just yet.
I wanted to bring up about the fork breaking.
Okay.
Because you made it out of aluminum. Because
they made it out of aluminum, but you have this really heavy, strong donut that it's supposed to be moving with actually really strong axle shafts.
It's like two different people engineered it. Like you had Dana with the donut.
Yep.
And then the bean counter at the OE made the shifting mechanism.
I mean, it absolutely. And we joke about how
and
AMC
the donut
made
wins every time.
We joke about how AMC made stuff. And it literally was like 3 different rooms of engineers with their own teams. They didn't talk to each other.
Did not share coffee.
Nope.
No water fountain.
Nope.
No lunch together.
No, sure didn't. No, sure didn't.
And in their defense, with the vacuum just gently pushing on it, aluminum fork was fine. When you ramrod it, not fine anymore. Anyway. So YJs for a long, at least when I got into Jeeps, we were just known that they were 2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Unless you had done modifications.
Right.
Otherwise, you could not rely on the 4-wheel drive system.
That's true.
So, and we obviously see that in the small Cherokee, because in 91, late 91, I don't want to argue with people about what month they did that. They got rid of it, and they just went to a long one-piece axle shaft, got rid of the...
Glory, hallelujah.
Everything just worked. And, then we had our cool, early 90s commercials where they're going down the road, and, suddenly a storm erupts, and they just go click, and they're full-time...
on the speed shifting.
On the fly, 4-wheel drive.
Yep.
And we're going down the road, and we cared little less about our fuel economy, but
it's because we went to a smaller platform.
Well, I mean, no,
it was a proven platform.
No, even better. we got rid of the Renix fuel injection from the French.
Sure.
And we
Oui.
we put the Chrysler injection in it, which made it way simpler.
Yes.
So therefore, it was actually probably the same fuel economy wise
That's true.
with the front axle turning all the time.
That's true.
So it was a great
Wash.
win.
Yeah.
But the YJ suffered.
The YJ, for whatever reason, did not get the value of a axle redesign at that point. And I will give you your credit to talk about that cable actuated, because once the vacuum system failed, that whole era, starting in the 80s, had just cumbersome vacuum systems.
Yes.
So many problems with vacuum. And God bless the mechanics and the DIYers who understood and rebuilt vacuum systems of that era. I
will say,
I take my hat off to you.
As a Ford owner, they made it worse on the Fords. The vacuum systems on a YJ are superior compared to what Ford tried to do, which is not a topic for this conversation. But if you own an 80s to 90s to even early 2000s Ford,
you know how cumbersome the vacuum systems are. And so here's the thing, and this is what adds to the confusion of this conversation, and we need to move on from our little Jeeps that the relevancy is less on. But ultimately, that aftermarket product that was a cable actuated to move the fork was called a posi lock. So here's the thing.
The cable was positive to move. The fork was not.
Here's the thing. At that time, GM had released their posi traction axles.
Oh, they had them before that, but
I know, that's what I'm saying. So in society, we knew what a posi was.
Yes.
Right? And so you're at the street, the strip, the off-road, and you know what a posi is.
Anytime you lay two stripes, you're like, ooh, it's got a posi.
Correct. Right?
It's like Kleenex.
And so, and I understand that posi traction was a GM design. So, and that's specific to a locker or internal to that differential, that carrier that I was talking about. So now we have this cable. There were, in fact, elsewhere in the aftermarket, cable actuated lockers in military application.
Yep.
So we had service members who knew that when they were in the military, they could pull a cable and like tractors. Well, I shouldn't say just the military. We have it in tractors. It was either linkage activated or cable activated. We would be able to lock a differential together with a cable. So the biggest misnomer was that people thought, again, you're 2-3 times removed when you're just the average consumer.
Put that cable in, I got a posi.
You put that cable in, I've got a locker now. Because literally the product was called a posi lock.
We had those conversations early on.
Oh my God. We still have to tell people, no, I'm sorry, you do not actually have a locker in your vehicle. Now your vehicle's four-wheel drive just actually works.
And then
on a bare minimum.
Because you made me do it. You also had people that were like, oh, well, now I can Lincoln lock it, weld the spiders together, put this posi lock cable in, and now I can have both.
The best of
both worlds. I can have a spool when it's locked in, which none of that's true.
No.
You just made lots of breakable stuff.
Yes.
And
you moved your fuse significantly.
Fork is really mad now.
Now here's the piece. I'll leave you all on the conversation regarding the small axle CAD design that came out in the 70s and was prevalent through the 80s and early 90s. There is a workaround at this point in time I recommend everybody to do. Pull that little cover off, pop a C-clip out, shove that collar over permanently, pop the C-clip back on, and arguably all you've done is create a design in your YJ or early 80 or mid 80s XJ, MJ, so on and so forth. That is the same as a 92 XJ, right? It's now you've locked two axle shafts.
The donut has moved permanently.
The donut has moved permanently, and now that design is functioning the way that a 92 XJ's axle works, minus the fact that the 92 XJ simply has a long one-piece internal shaft.
And I'm not going to do it the hard way, like Scott or Greg would do. Then you buy a kit, and it changes the seal, and you put a little block-off plate on it, and you want to put a one-piece axle shaft in it.
Now, there are advantages to one-piece axle shafts. And I think this is an appropriate segue for us because, and this is the piece that I stand firmly on my soapbox sharing with you today, brothers and sisters.
Oh, boy.
Long axle shafts are actually meant to twist, bend, flex, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And then they go back to their original casting or shaping that they were
and I'll
designed.
tell you, Dana tries and makes sure they do that. And when you shorten an axle shaft, like driver's side,
Yep.
it has a weird fuse because it cannot twist like that.
That's correct. And so that's the big misnomer within the world, is that because something is longer, we think about a longer lever, right? Our lever is longer and therefore force applied somehow should be able, maybe bend it. But like a quality pry bar, you can actually get a bunch of flexion in that pry bar. It's not too hardened where it's going to break or chip or leave you, with a bloody broken face. It actually, once you pry what you need to pry, it goes back to being straight. Mm-hmm. And so within reason, your axle shaft itself works the same. If you are in the hardcore race industry, rock bouncers, or something along that line, there's a term called gun drilled axle shafts. The objective of that is actually to make those axle shafts so twisty that no matter how much torque is sent through them, the axle shaft won't break. Twisting is actually perfectly acceptable. And with custom axle shaft designers like Dutchman, there's actually an acceptable twist where that shaft is good for, life.
It's actually really cool to see the slow-mo cameras watching it, and it just flexes all the way and then comes right back.
Oh, yeah, because drive shafts,
so cool.
Drive shafts do it too.
Yeah.
Correct. So where this becomes problematic, well, I should say then that transfers over to the tube structure itself. And we actually had this issue early on. We were go back to young Scott and young Neil. We thought that the long side would smile or frown, right? Yeah. And we quickly learned from, people as we kind of sharpened our axe within the industry that what ends up happening is that's the short side. I still remember being in my parents' backyard and like learning with you, whether we were on the phone, whether we were together, and we were putting the straight edge on, and come to find out the long side was perfectly straight and the short side was actually what was bent. And my mind was blown.
Yeah, because of the long side had come back and then returned to where it could, because you have more structure and more ability for those molecules and stuff to kind of move around and then come back. Where the other side, you pretty much deform it.
You stove it and it deforms. And so, so we understand this as an automotive industry for for a couple decades. Ultimately, by 95 is the last time that we see within the Jeep industry a CAD axle produced. That was in the YJ. Yeah, those of us who are in the know, we put on our party hats, we got out our little kazoo noisemakers, our champagne poppers, and we toasted to each other. We didn't have to deal with that anymore. Bum bum bum.
And then we decided we wanted to get more than like 15 miles a gallon out of our Jeep.
Well, 2018 comes around.
Yeah, and they are needing to push that acceptable EPA regulation up higher. They need it to be better. And the sad part is the motors are more efficient. They're got more horsepower than we've ever had and that kind of stuff. But I admit it's nice getting, 18, 20 miles a gallon out of a four-wheel drive straight axle Jeep. But we need to go back to the olden days and kind of make things
somewhere. We gotta sacrifice something somewhere.
Which we finally had the technology we should have had in 87.
Sure.
And now for all intents and purposes, I get my Rubicon, you go down the road, you go, oh, it's a little slippery. Pop it in 4 high. You flash once on the dash and boom, you're in four-wheel drive, and you're none the wiser of all the magic that just happened.
Sure.
As you put it in four-wheel drive and you didn't have this horrible grinding noise, which, old school OBS Chevy guys, I'm looking at you. because your little plunger failed and you put it in 4-wheel drive and things weren't lined up.
Right.
You're bad grinding.
Definitely not synchronized.
No synchronization. But anyway, all that magic happened. So really, other than this problem we're going to bring up, it's a good system.
Yeah.
It works. It's pretty robust. I haven't seen anybody break it. I'm sure you can break anything, but general purpose use for a daily driver Jeep, it works.
Right. So just to be very clear, in 2018 and a half, we see the release of the JL Wrangler platform. So JL and JLU. And with that, we have obviously both the Dana, the Advantech series. And this is a great axle design, right? So despite the fact that it has the name Dana 44, it is vastly different than the prior year 44s. The Dana 30 retains a number of similarities to prior model 30s as far as internal bearing structure and journaling, oil galleys being of similar placement.
Pull them back in. So anyway.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know what? I really get excited over this stuff.
He does.
So we can't tell.
So anyways, this is when we have the FAD axle release.
And I'm going to make up a story that we kind of came up with when this all happened that is too fun not to just share. We think that this young guy was trying to figure out this, and he went down in the depths of the engineering department and found that old school big drawer with the old school vellum paper drawings and pulled that open, and dust flew into the air, and he found the drawing from the YJ.
Sure.
And he's like, whoa,
we can do that.
I can do that with better stuff now. But for some reason, instead of moving the actuator closer to the differential, he's like, well, if Grandpa put it there, I should put it there too.
Yeah, AMC did this. We can do this.
Yeah. It was obviously just a vacuum system that sucked, which is true. And all that stuff. And we can do electronics now and make it better, which is true. But what we can't not do is bend our axle housings.
Sure.
Every 5 minutes.
So here's the catalyst of this entire conversation as we've strung you along in process, is that what we are seeing now more than ever is this issue with bending the long side of the tube structure. So when we had the compact Dana 30 under the XJ, YJ, MJ, so on and so forth, while the housing may bend, that was less the failure point of that era of axles. Typically, when you were aggressively off-roading, and so there was some hopping in the front of your vehicle, or if you were involved in an accident, again, the short tube was going to bend and not be able to rebound. Again, the long side actually wasn't so problematic because there just wasn't that much leverage on that long side under those more compact class of Jeep models. By the time we're at 2018, that's actually a very large axle assembly. Mm-hmm. And now that long side is back again, a very long, large lever. And it is unable to rebound because it is a multi-piece process of assembly. But with press fitting tubes and heat applied via welding,
which we have to, for 2 seconds, remember, 7 to 11 JKs also suffered from general frowning, smiling axles because we're just wider than we've ever been before. And we didn't even have a FAD.
No, we had porous castings at that time.
To even think about making it, would be 5 times worse if they would have had a FAD then. So we actually have a pretty good axle design, but the disconnects.
By 2012, we've got an amazing front axle design.
Yeah, and really the Advantech made it better in lots of ways, other than this dumb disconnect in the middle of the long side axle tube where the upper control arm is. So then we get this perfect catalyst of things where the upper control arm's actually pretty robust. Mm-hmm. And it's holding it to the FAD, and we have Bambi jump out in front of us, mm-hmm. and we tap Bambi with the passenger side front tire. So you have our control arm holding strong, and it just goes beep,
Absolutely.
and twists and bends the axle tube. And folks, we're talking inch, half an inch, but it is enough to completely mess up all the geometry, tire wear, bad stuff happens.
And we have replaced more of these axle assemblies in 2025 from arguably minute impacts.
Yeah.
Just normal off-roading where an individual kind of came up over a little hill and then as they came down
Stove
and
the tire.
stoved a tire in a little washout. They're in an entire line and row of Jeeps off-road.
And you can't not talk about all the great pictures of like in the dunes of axles broken at the FAD as well.
At the FAD itself.
Where they've actually bent it and then went further.
100%. And currently one of our greater, more severe bends is specifically just from a small deer impact.
Yes.
Not even a substantial off-roading or
You'd look
any,
at this Jeep and go, meh, I could still drive that.
100%.
But you can't.
But we actually can see the spring having a lean to it, the track bar pocket being askew in orientation.
Sway bar
That-
link is all cattywampus.
The sway bar link was the primary indicator initially. And, in our process of working with insurance companies, it has been our experience talking with insurance adjusters about how many of these axles that they are writing to replace at this time. Now, what's crazy, to let you in on a little bit, is the fact that we know that Gladiators specifically with the sport axles, so non-max toe, non-Rubicon, the air quotes narrow front axle 44, that axle is on a degree of indefinite back order.
Yep.
At minimum 45 day lead time with 18 nationally, and this is a Chrysler statistic, 18 on pre-order with 0 in production.
Bad.
Basically the country needs 18 of these axles. They're not actually building any, and you might see one within 45 days.
Maybe.
And like true Dana fashion, the engineer was mad that the young guy went down and found that drawing.
Whoa.
Got all choked up.
Whoa, you got choked up.
So he went ahead and designed the axle that we should have got
Yes.
and made an Ultimate Series. But, he's a four-wheel drive guy.
Yes.
And he likes his Rubicons. And because we now have narrow and wide axles, what did he do? Chose the wide axle.
Correct. Because it's the best axle.
Best
you can have.
axle. He wanted to make the best of the best. And not only that, why in the world would we do anything lower than the 410 gear ratio?
Right.
So we now have this weird conundrum where, and honestly, we don't see like my truck front axle bending all that much, which they should bend worse because it's lighter,
Potentially.
But
or maybe it's
but
just
again, the wider is maybe
better.
what's saving it.
I don't know. But if I bent my front axle tomorrow, other than cost, I could go and buy an Ultimate in my gear ratio, put in there, get rid of the FAD. Everybody's happy.
Right.
Turn it off with my taser.
One piece axle shaft.
Yep.
Full one piece tube construction.
And suddenly we got really the best front axle we've ever seen
Correct.
Yep.
in the Jeep. But if you have a sport like Jeff,
Even a max toe. Well, no.
No,
see,
max
max
toe's
toe.
wider.
is wide.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've seen them bend in a max toe. is all I'm
Absolutely.
saying.
Yeah.
But if you're Jeff, you're screwed.
And we have seen Rubicons, JL Rubicons bend
as well.
But-
so it's not undoable.
But just plan on if you have a sport that you're now upgrading your to
Wider.
the wider axle, you're upgrading your gears, which means now you got to re-gear the rear
Yep.
and steering, right?
Yes, and steering is different. So we've the whole point of this is to kind of unpack the specialization of front axle technologies over the last 30 or 40 years.
Yep.
Understanding that if there's a tidbit here that benefited you when you're in your Jeep club or at your next Jeep meet, also if somebody is trying to do a distance diagnosis about a Jeep that has got some shakes or some shimmies or some oddities that, they just can't quite sort out, and they've done all of the normal things regarding track bars and caster and, good quality components.
Accidentally hit a small deer or a dog.
That's exactly.
Wow.
That honestly, you could be dealing with an issue perpetrated from a bent axle itself.
Yep.
And at this moment, there are not a lot of good fixes other than going with an aftermarket axle application, in which case you may be looking at upgraded steering or additional gearing needed to satisfactorily do that replacement.
Yep.
And so I really hope we don't see this technology go past the JL, but
Or just put it next to the pumpkin, please.
Relocate it.
which is an interesting conversation as to why we see it still mid shaft, which is exactly where we see these bends and breaks happening.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily at the diff itself. It is out past
Oh,
that
I'm sure.
substructure.
In the comments, Billy Joe said the suspense to wait to hear you all sing in the 12 Days of
I don't know
Christmas
why.
Simpsons version.
I'm trying to
It's
do
just-
everything I
I
can
know
to
you're
avoid
stalling
it.
at this point, and we are to that point where we really.
Would you
need
guys
to-
like to hear about spline counts over the years
No.
of
No.
internal axles? And,
No.
No.
All right. Folks, if you have any questions about crappy axle technology or CAT technology in Jeeps, as Geauga Jeepers put it, then feel free to reach out to us
What do I
directly
need this for?
at
'Cause you're singing
contact,
I am not.
CONTACT, at sfj4x4.com, or text us on our text-only number, 440-855-2100. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll respond accordingly. Jeffrey, while I was continuing to try and stall, has produced us the 12 Days of Jeepmas 2025.
I think it would have been better to say AI wrote this.
Yep, probably.
I'm sorry, people.
I don't think I can even get all these words in on this.
I do
Jeffrey's
approve
gonna
of the,
Jeffrey's gonna sound check this a little bit. I'm just glad that Jeffrey wrote it. Do you have letters on here for your strumming?
Yeah, that's where you're getting a strum. That's what chord you're getting.
Oh God. Do you remember when he actually gave us like background music and then it was really fast and he slowed it up?
I mean, in
This is.
in his defense, this was my idea.
This was Scott's idea, and it's designed that I can just go at your pace. Maybe.
All right, that actually works.
I was just hazing.
I thought
Jeff.
it worked. I don't know.
Jeff, that's not bad.
See?
That's not bad.
I was just hazing Jeff, and here we are.
All right, you're gonna strum. What are you gonna do? What the heck are you doing?
The whole
What the
idea.
hell are you doing?
I
The
don't
whole
know.
idea of this
Actual-
was this neck of the guitar is supposed to be in Neil's face, but
I mean, Jeff has gotten real serious. Oh, I wanted to do a shout out to one of my friends. We actually just topped his top listener list, and he said he sent me a screenshot, and he said if only we gave ukulele lessons as well, we would easily rise to number one.
Oh.
And so I thought it would only be too fitting that Jeff is actually strumming
he'd be way too serious about it though.
his guitar here, and I was going to bring a uke.
Because he had his whole persona has changed.
I know
For
his
those that
whole
can't see.
aura.
Yes.
I know for people who can't see at home, everybody who's listening at home, like all of a sudden, Jeff is like super serious.
Yes, he
I've
transformed.
been made to feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
There's way too much lead up here because this is not.
Jeff is going to be like a super pro. So Randall, if you wanted instruction on string instruments, apparently this is it. And we wanted to give you this for Christmas, clearly, and a Jeep fixed. But I don't know if that's going to happen either.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Jeff? Have you
I was just waiting for
situated
the
yourself?
strum.
Do you feel good?
No, I don't. Let's go.
Are you going to strum? Can I hear you? On the first day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me a duck perched on my new Jeep.
Terrible.
Jeff, were you strumming or were you just like,
Could you not hear?
were you in panic mode? Were you panicking?
No, that's what
Okay. Are you going to strum again? I'm ready to go. Second one. Folks listening at home,
You're singing first.
It's so serious.
he's so serious.
You have a
Folks,
blueprint.
you only have to listen to 4 verses, I promise you. On the second day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 2 toe straps
Purple
and
ones.
a duck perched on my new Jeep.
It's important to clarify. They're purple straps.
On the third day of SFJ 4x4 Jeepmas, my true love gave to me
Had to add more words.
3 skid plates, gas tank, transfer case, and oil pan, 2 toe straps,
Purple ones.
and worthless purple ones, and a duck perched on my new Jeep. Jeff, you're doing a great job. I want you to know.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think whoever suggested was that you, Scott?
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy about this right now. Last verse for this week, folks. If you actually enjoyed the torture, you'll have to tune in next week for 4 new verses. On the 4th day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 4 reservoir shocks,
Blew the
3
credit card on
skid
that.
plates, 2 toe straps from Harbor Freight, and a duck perched on my new Jeep.
Well, it makes sense now why we had to do purple straps, because we had to save up for the Resi shocks.
That's right. We had to do the affordable purple strap because now we got Resi shocks. Jeff, that was actually pretty good.
I tried.
You really did. I see that. Man, I feel like people.
Can we talk about the fact his guitar's blue?
It comes as no surprise to anybody.
It's blue. It's got pearl inlay birds on the neck.
It's got a skull
Yes.
neck strap
I
on
gotta
it.
say, the skull neck strap and the
Here, no-
birds kind of conflict.
Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Of the skulls.
Are
Folks,
the
we're
birds
really
on the
good
neck,
at working on Jeeps. I need you to know that and hold that true for us.
Are the birds on the neck from this right way you sing the song?
What?
I
Are they turtle doves and doves and?
Anyways, so that's a wrap on this episode.
I'm excited to see what the next couple verses look like, Jeff. The pressure's on now.
I know.
Wow.
I worked really hard on the Partridge in a Pear Tree line because I really wanted something that actually worked. The last 2, I think we didn't have a good flow.
Yeah, but this is now the pressure's on. This is actually half decent.
I don't like the duck perched on my new Jeep one. I'm sorry.
If you care about what happened over the weekend, stay through the outro credits. Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
So, in true curmudgeon fashion, I was drugged unwillingly with my unwilling son to a Christmas shindig on Saturday after work.
I need everybody to know we went to the exact same Christmas shindig
I had
at different
completely
times.
different opinions of it.
At different times and completely different opinions.
I had to pep talk my son that sometimes you do stuff you don't want to do because you love people and they want you to do it.
I had the best time. It was an amazing experience.
I'm sorry, but I have to laugh at the comments. Giaga Jeeper said, Jeff, hard to work with non-musicians. Glad they got day job.
Ouch.
I thought that went really well.
Our bar is so low. Our bar is so low for this.
That is true.
We're gonna do it for real sometime, not on air. We're gonna auto tune it. We'll actually record it for people.
Oh boy.
No,
Oh,
not true at all.
no.
We'll let Jeff mix it up. All right. So
But
anyway,
so
you went to this really great experience, but you were a big Scrooge about it.
we had to park down a side street and not die on sidewalks that weren't de-iced, and it was fine. Anyway,
Welcome to winter in the north.
I don't like winter.
You live in the wrong area.
I know I do. So
But it could be much worse. You could live in hurricane area.
I was literally chanting that. No hurricanes. Our spiders are smaller.
great.
No alligators. It's fine. Anyway, so then on to the next day. In true, when you're friends with older friends, you sometimes are like, I'm going to sleep in on Sunday. And you get a phone call and they're like, hey, I'd like to come over see your project. And I'm like, oh, that actually sounds like fun. Oh, well, I'm at the end of your road. Well, I am in bed, so you're going to have to give me a minute. But anyway, it was a nice visit with a friend. He came over to see the Model T. Ended up over at his place and looked at Model T parts. So it, all in all, was an okay weekend in between snow flurries and ice that tried to kill me. So
What a Scrooge. Man, and he's the one who's taking time off between the holidays. Gracious.
Yeah.
so I don't have to go out in the cold and the snow and the ice.
That's
Strategic.
yep.
I just need
Strategery.
somehow to get to the garage without going outside.
What I heard is you're taking that week off so you can be building your pole barn out back.
No,
That makes sense to me.
That's- No.
I would
I mean-
totally do that.
it's there's snow and ice and it's cold out there, and I don't know what I'm doing.
He named three reasons that'll be fun. The fourth reason is just makes it more challenging and exciting.
All right, so I guess on his bah humbug level, I'll go to mine. I went to the exact same Christmas market, which has become a tradition for my kids and I, and it's this local fair that is meant to be like a holiday market you might see in a much larger city. Of course, Pittsburgh has a beautiful Christmas market that is just stunning. This was a great small town, hometown version because it's kind of kicked off with you actually have horse-drawn wagon rides. When we went, there was a skating rink installation, which I know that Scott didn't get to partake of. They had free hot cocoa, and they had one of those stove burner things where the wood superheats and it produces, one of the super stoves that we've seen sold, like Snoop Dogg sells them for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what the frick, I don't know. So,
But really, it's hammered at home for me as we are in the rise of everybody making crafty stuff
I love it.
with crickets and
Yeah.
and 3D printers and
Yeah.
everything. Everybody's got a small business.
I love it. Good for them. Good for them. And if you want to hear about, being a successful small business owner, tune into Jeffrey's My American Hustle podcast.
There you go.
But
We'll teach you how to make the best soap.
Yeah, the best soap out of your kitchen, man. So, we go into all those little tents and we talk to those people, and they're in there, shivering, trying to make the best of it and sell their little handcrafted Etsy, product. And, it was very nice. The beauty was that once my wife, who's had some health ups and downs, not always great on Friday night, but she made it a priority to come and join us this year. And we had just the best time together. Again, we're a little irreverent, so whether there was like, hey, you're supposed to do this, then that, whatever. We kind of flittered about and kind of hit our touch points as we enjoyed them. There was goat petting that you could go to.
Did you pet the skunk?
So we my wife and kids absolutely petted the skunk. I was,
Why would you not?
why would you not? I was occupied with something else personally, but, they got in line to pet the skunk, which, why was there skunk petting at a Christmas event? I don't know. I don't need to ask those questions. It's just something fun to do.
Did you
Seems legit
they
to
have
me.
the Grinch there?
No, there was no Grinch.
Oh, the Grinch was there.
My
when
bad.
was
I
there.
didn't go.
I was right.
No, this was. It was not you as a Grinch.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny is that 3 years ago when we first went, my kids were just a hair younger. My barber, who has been on our other podcast before, and you've seen him involved in a number of things that we've done media-wise, just his wife volunteers. She does photography. She volunteers all of the photo session for the weekend.
Oh,
And
for taking pictures for Santa.
yes.
Oh, okay.
And general coverage, but primary Santa pictures. That is her gift to the public, her way of charitably giving back. And my son he's a bigger boy. He's at that time he was 10. So sitting on Santa's lap was a little bit,
Aiden wasn't having it.
yeah, he wasn't exactly having it. And
Evie was all in. She was all there.
100%. My daughter as well. But at 10, he's a shy kid anyways. Stupidly enough, Jim the barber, his name, Santa had stepped away. Jim the barber was milling about and made this joke that Jim should go play Santa and Leo sit on Jim's lap. We have this iconic picture of Leo sitting on our barber's lap as Santa, right? So
Did we recreate it this year?
no, we didn't. He wasn't there.
Oh.
But in preparation, my son did ask me, he goes, is Jim playing Santa again? I was like, buddy, Jim was never playing Santa. Like, we just had you sitting on the barber's lap because it was ridiculous.
Because we're Simpsons.
Yeah. So, it was a fun hometown affair, if you will, in that regard. But it kicked off a very long weekend of activity, a flurry of activity with my family. Everybody got sick. Everybody had obligations that we had already made commitments to. It was a very challenging weekend in that regard. With that all contextualized, this was our weekend to get our tree. And if you don't know about me, I am a die-hard live Christmas tree guy.
And I have to contextualize. They want the biggest tree they can possibly shove into the inappropriately small space that they have for this tree.
That's correct.
Is the tree folded over because it's too tall?
No, because I cut the pieces off that needed to be folded over. So now it just looks like it protrudes up into the ceiling.
How many feet wide is it?
Listen, I was really responsible this year,
Uh-huh.
and it is not that big. In the grand scheme
I
of the
believe
Simpson
you.
house, it really isn't, okay?
Well, how tall was it when you bought it?
I don't know. It is an appropriate tree. Just so you guys know, it is.
So it was at least 7 foot. Probably 10
yeah,
foot.
of course it's. Oh, it's easily 7 to 10. I don't know.
The last one I remember, the tree was as wide as it was tall.
as usually how I like them. Okay. But here's the thing. Again, mention everybody was sick. There was all these problems. And again, I'm going to continue to paint that picture about the fact that I am a diehard live tree guy. I used to need to trudge into the field, the forest, the whatever, and cut that tree down. I loved cut your own tree.
Doug called you out. It was 7 foot.
Thank you, Doug. So here's what happens in 2020.
I think you were a little touched because of the size is smaller
You
than you
just
used
went
to.
and picked one out of the front.
I said 7 to 10. Doug just clarified because this is the important thing to note. Okay, prior to 2020, and again, developing these relationships with customers, our objective is longitudinal, right? It really is. A degree of expanding the family mantra. We're not always going to get along. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be ups and downs. But objectively, I am here to grow the Jeep family as a whole. And I value the unique background that each and every person brings to the table. It just so happens that when Doug and Jonathan joined this business as customers, they brought in this terribly clapped out, god awful
89 YJ.
I thought it was newer than that. I think it's a 91.
Oh, it's 91. That's
It's a 91,
92 or something.
91, 92.
93. Don't let
YJ
facts get
Renegade.
The year just keeps changing.
YJ Renegade. Think about the ugliest Jeep that only I would love, where it has this fairing plastic all over it. It's just absolutely
it's the
beautifully
early 90s. The plastic's junk. It breaks.
Yeah. So they come into the business. Come to find out that
It's a 93.
come to find out
We got there.
we got there eventually. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, folks. Come to find out they are, at Jonathan's degree, third generation Christmas tree farmers.
Yep.
1956, Doug's father purchases a farm about an hour or so away from his particular home just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, purchases this several 100-acre farm in our county.
Yep.
And that we are physically located. And it's this whole like circumstance or happenstance situation where they become our customers. And these individuals are authentically prize-winning Christmas tree growers.
If you ever wanted to see like as serious as Jeff got when the guitar came out about Christmas trees, this is them.
This is them.
I did not know there were so many things.
They are to Christmas trees as we are to Jeeps.
Yes.
They
Okay.
actually, if you didn't see last year's episodes for Christmas, they brought a wreath that they made, and she actually wove it in the vehicle while they were driving.
We have it. Ours is hanging in the. I just didn't bring it to unveil it today. We should have grabbed it. It's hanging in the showroom currently.
Oh, we got another one.
Oh yeah. They brought it Black Friday or prior to. We have one for the shop, and then they are so generous they give me one for my personal home as well. It has a little Jeep ornament on it. I proudly display it in my home. We love it. We look forward to it. They're live, real wreaths. I love their generosity, but they're so established, folks, that they're literally in national competitions. If you didn't know that was a thing, there are. And they just last week did a Christmas tree installation in the governor of Ohio's home. So this is a serious business, Christmas tree farm, and it is of the utmost importance to me to get my Christmas tree from them because they take such a pride in what they do, even though Doug doesn't let me cut the Christmas tree at this point.
Because he takes such pride in it.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't let me play with the chainsaw. And
Chainsaw.
Oh, Doug's serious business. Where he picks out 3 or 4 trees prior to us going out there, and he gives us a selection, and it's how we operate with Jeeps, where we basically give our customers kind of a buffet of options, and then they kind of give us feedback, and then we narrow it down for them.
We're really, he just wants a dull, like 4 years out in the field saw, bow saw, and you just sit his happy butt on the back tailgate of the Gladiator, and you take him out there, and you go, your type of tree is in that general direction.
No. They are way too professional for this.
I'm saying what your standards.
I know my standards are
there.
And they are so incredible for our family, and have been so fantastic with our trees over the last 5 years. And unfortunately, this year was literally just my daughter and I going out to retrieve it. But of course, we had a very special time together to do that. Also, we're very unique in my. I'm very passionate about my Christmas tree, folks, if you didn't know this, but I also only get blue spruce. If your tree does not make you bleed while you're trying to decorate, then it's not Christmas.
Yeah.
It used to be...
Jeff is the guy that likes to get punished all the time.
It used to be if your parents aren't screaming at each other while trying to put the Christmas tree up, it's not Christmas. At this point in time, as an adult, I realized I can put the Christmas tree up without screaming at anybody. I didn't know that was an option when I was a kid. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But now I do. But I still hold true to the fact that the tree needs to make you bleed.
So I do have a question. Do you have any traditional ornaments that you hide in the tree?
A pickle.
You do the pickle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the Pittsburgh pickle. The Pittsburgh pickle.
Some people do the pickle. That's I grew up. It was a glass pickle that was hidden in there.
Absolutely.
But there's always a traditional ornament that.
And when we say that, I've actually had the pickle for probably a decade. I mean, I've had it as long as my kids have been alive, and I don't think I've once actually effectively hid it from them and retrieved it. It was more like, oh, here's the ornament box. Who saw it first? Here's your present.
So just put in context, when I was little, if I wanted a Christmas tree, I had to put it up myself, and it was the old green pole with the
pipe cleaner poles
with the paint dipped on the end of the branches, and you had to know which branch went where.
Really?
And
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what I grew up with.
And so I had to put that up myself
And they were the color coded metal.
and decorate it myself.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Merry
at
Christmas
this
in the
point-
Brown household.
So at this point, I'm tapped.
yeah,
I dragged that thing out of the attic.
your Christmas tree, not the same pipe cleaner that you
No,
had. Yeah.
no. I hope
Different,
that thing
new
has
one.
a special place in some.
Burning in a hot, very, very hot place.
So, and the kids put it up and decorate it. So I ain't hiding nothing from nobody.
I thought that they're designed to just fold up and keep the ornaments and lights, and you just throw it
Oh
in.
my God, you all are so terrible.
Now,
No, we decorated it growing up, but
Yeah.
but we did absolutely have the pre-lit fold up tree and
Yeah.
and to make another layer, there is a rule from my wife's family. Her great grandparents set up the tree, and before they got it decorated, their great grandma literally passed away. So then the Christmas tree wasn't decorated for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a rule: you cannot go to bed without putting decorations on the tree. You can't just half do it. Tree has to go up, has to get decorated.
That's cute. Honestly, I have actually gotten to the point, because sometimes life gets busy, I've actually decorated the tree on Christmas Day. I am so okay with like flexibility within a degree. To me, it's this experience.
You should do the countdown to Christmas and have so many decorations a day.
Oh, that's funny. Long story short,
You should
here,
sing the
these folks,
Jeepmas song.
stop it. All right. It's important to us that we retrieve the tree with the Jeep. We took my dad's Gladiator this year to, you know how weird we are, Scott? Like,
Yeah.
we need like these little associative things.
Yeah.
This year's merch, limited edition drop on our hoodies is the red, iconic kind of Christmas tree Jeep,
Yep.
which was in part inspired by the Gregg Christmas Tree Farm, which is Doug and Jonathan and their brother, Doug's brother, and it was in loose part inspired by them. They've again, we're great supporters of theirs, and they're great supporters of ours, and so. I was talking to my parents, and it was important to us. I took my dad's Gladiator this year, in fact, to get the tree. So we had this kind of moment of tree retrieval, but we've tied it to the roof of the Jeeps, and of course they're great because they do all the binding and the tying and stuff.
Also very serious.
Oh, phenomenally.
Yes.
He's and like us, I can respect every bit of it because he's very procedural. Because like yesterday, and he's very kind, because like yesterday I love Christmas tree equipment. I love the shakers that oftentimes some farms have. I love the balers, and I was standing on the wrong side of the baler, and he just kind of like motioned gently like, excuse me, I need you to come over here. He needed me to move like all of 10 feet, but a very procedural as to not take like a winch line to the neck,
that's
have
fair.
him, have me move around the baler. I just like seeing it go through and get, kind of wrapped all tight and everything. So a fantastic experience despite being a little under the weather and very stretched thin over the weekend.
And for those that don't remember, our previous Christmas hoodie, he actually called us out because we had the tree facing the wrong direction.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Because this is very serious business.
This is incredibly serious business. So if you have any affection towards real life Christmas trees, I suggest you give Gregg Christmas Tree Farm a like on Facebook. It's GREIG, and you can see them in the future attempt to get their Christmas trees in Washington, D.C., because part of their competitive process actually eventually lands Christmas trees in DC. So kind of fun stuff there. But like me, I'm a total tree nerd. If you didn't know this, the very farm that my grandfather bought after World War II, air quotes, and we've had Jeeps on since the, sort of then, and my sister still lives on, I had about 30 blue spruce planted on that farm, thinking that I would eventually move there and have Jeeps and trees and all that kind of stuff. My grandfather used to grow about a little less than an acre of blue spruce himself on this said farm, and I thought I was going to continue that on until we kind of blew up SFJ into what it is. So fun tidbit about me that you might not have known.
For me, this weekend was my wife's birthday, so
Happy birthday, Kristen.
Yep. So Saturday we took time to rest, relax. I made her favorite brownies. Her grandmother, who's passed away at this point, shared a birthday. So she always made brownies. So I was like, hey, I'll make you your brownies. And I did chocolate chips, powdered sugar, the works, all from scratch. And then Sunday, I actually went to a Santa's workshop in Lake City with Xander, and we worked as a craft vendor for our nonprofit, supporting another nonprofit that runs that called Light Up Hope, and that was a lot of fun to just go out there. We are not an actual craft vendor specifically like the other tables, like you were referencing with the 3D printer and that, where they've got 7 tables of all these items.
They're very polished and crafty.
Yep. Whereas we just have a table with some information about who we are as a nonprofit and a few nice ornaments and laser engraved things that Kristen makes for our nonprofit. So that was what we did, and I watched the Steelers-Ravens games throughout the Santa's workshop because bah humbug, as Scott says, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this football game.
Yeah, I was doing my best based on the fact that this was our weekend. This air quotes weekend to relax. My son was in a 7+ hour wrestling tournament. My daughter had a 4-hour recital practice. This is Tech Week from my daughter's big company production. coming up. So this was our air quotes weekend to relax, and all we did was sick and ran around. But you guys bah humbugging stuff. God,
No, I
bless you.
actually did celebrate it well. We had fun there.
Good.
And I let Xander go around, check out all the different vendors.
I'm sure he
bought
had a
some-
great
some
time.
little things, yeah.
I'm sure you had a great time. All right. Well, as much as I would love to continue to talk about Christmas and our families and our weekend activities with and without our Jeeps,
We got a lot to work on.
We've got a lot to work on and not a lot of time. Important to note as we move forward, you have 2 weeks left of the 2025 year season. And we are going to take the last date that we will be doing a podcast will be December 22. We will not be here on December 29 in preparation of our coming season, the first of the year of 2026. So just so you know, prioritize joining us. If you have some free time in your schedule, feel free to jump on and join us live on Facebook or on the YouTubes at 10:19 a.m. See if you can beat Nathan or Joe to the punch in the process and be first in the comment thread. Like I said, 2 more opportunities in the 2025 season. And obviously, you will catch 4 more verses of this awesome Jeepmas song each time you tune in. Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.